Pushed back at the front door, Monday's food bank. And what happened to this lady that has that shopping cart with the umbrella that's pimped out a little bit. Yeah, she was the last one at the door with somebody else, a guy. And he pushed out the way to get in the front door because it was down to the last ticket. Because of them counting tickets, they have to shut the door to cut off the people coming in because they want to have enough people to cover all the bags that they make up. So they make up 30 bags, they got 30 tickets, 20 bags, 20 tickets, 40 bags, 40 tickets, and so on. Well, he had got down to the last ticket before he shut the door. So instead of him waiting for the person to come to the door with the last ticket, he shut the door, and the lady that runs food bank started making her announcements. So about 5 minutes into the announcement, somebody knocked at the door, and it was two of them. And she was one of the two. So he was kind of wrong. He's a doorman. And, you know, whoever opens the door and passes out the ticket, I call him the door person. This time it was the doorman. Sometimes it'd be a young lady at the door doing it. But anyway, I guess he must have dropped it on the ground. He said, I don't care who get it, you pick it up or pass it. I don't know if he passed it out anyway. She ended up getting pushed back for that ticket. So my man was desperate for that ticket to the point that he going to push somebody back for it. So you know he was wrong. You know, if I see somebody with a shopping cart versus me not having a shopping cart, I'm going to probably give them the plate first. But they might need it more than I do. But I ain't going to be that bodacious to push somebody back for a ticket. And to this particular time, they wouldn't have given out no meat. They were mostly giving out fruits and vegetables. Mostly fruit. And what happened, that was, she was mad about it. She was telling the door person about it. And, you know, he was kind of wrong for doing that because he should have just passed it to one person, but he didn't want to be in the middle of that mess. So that's what happened when you come down to that last ticket and get a little hectic. Unfortunately, it got a little hectic. This is around November, this is turkey time. So the greed is coming out in people. And they had watermelons out there and they on their pallets on the outside from their produce, probably for garden harvest. No, not from gleaners. So they get a lot of stuff from Eastern Market. So they get it by the cases. Or there's one lady, she identified them as the pallets, the boxes on the pallets as Gaylords. I remember calling them Gaylords when I worked in transportation. That's a box that's big enough to cover the space of a pallet, the four corners of a pallet. And I was surprised she identified them as Gaylords. I see she used to work in transportation. Most people just call them boxes, but they call Gaylords. So she was able to identify them as Gaylords. I recognized that. And she was ex-military, so she had did transportation, that's for sure. Or she had did shipping and receiving. That's where the word Gaylord comes from. You were working shipping and receiving or working transportation. Driving a vehicle, you know about loading up pallets, you know about Gaylords. It's like almost like an open pallet. It'll always be wrapped up in boxes. And they just put the whole two pallets of Gaylords, boxes of watermelons out there. And that greed got with them people. They were small watermelons. But they got the first people that be in line, they come early now just to look for the produce. They back to doing that again. So instead of them taking one or two, they're taking them by the bunches. And this one lady had called somebody from home to come and pick up a bunch of watermelons. I don't know what you're going to do with them many watermelons. You got to eat them up right away. You got to have a lot of people to pass them out. You can't sit on them. So instead of them sharing them with the rest of the crew, because somebody's going to get left out with the tickets, so just leave a few in there so when a person comes, they can leave with something. But they don't think like that. Little buddy, that's too much like right. What they think about doing is taking as many as they can, because there's nobody out there policing it. So when you ain't got nobody out there checking it out, make sure that it's being distributed evenly, that greed would take over. And there's one lady that called somebody up there, he said he had been drinking. And he drove up there. And under the influence, he wasn't drunk enough to me to drive, but he knew he had been drinking. And it's early in the morning. It's after 12, it's about 1 o'clock. So to me, that's early in the morning. But if you're alcoholic, you be drinking by that time. You have your drink on by that time, after 12. So he came up there with the band just to get a bunch of watermelons. And, that's just greed. They did it last week with some sweets they had out there. They had body cases. And the lady up there at the food bank, one of the social workers, she wanted all that stuff to be gone because they're going to throw it away anyway. But it's the sense of greed that people have that can astonish you at the food bank. And they know when they take that crap home, if you don't have nobody to pass it out to, there's one lady, she had a couple of cases. If you live in a senior citizen place, I can understand that. And you got somewhere to pass it out to. You got to have a lot of family and friends to pass that junk out to. Because that stuff out too, because it's towards the end of its life. It's about to go bad. And you don't have no plan on eating it real quick. I only took but 1 or 2 boxes. And they're taking 2 or 3 cases. You got to have somewhere to pass it out because I don't put stuff in the freezer if I don't have to. If it ain't already frozen, I'm going to try to get rid of it right then. And if I don't get rid of it, I'm going to throw it out. So that's because it's throwaway food anyway. That's the whole thing. It's throwaway food, and people still get greedy about it. So that was what was happening at the Monday Food Bank. We got a lady pushed back at the door for the last ticket. And we had the watermelon grabbers. We had people coming and calling people from home to come and get the watermelons, and most people had. The one guy had his trunk full of watermelons. I don't know how you don't eat them all, but you must have a lot of people you can pass them out to. But he didn't care about the other person behind him, the people that's coming right behind him. He didn't care nothing about that. Nobody. You're going to get his, because I got that need for greed. That's for sure. I went to the Thursday Food Bank, and there was a group of young ladies that came in there. And there's one lady, she sounded just like the other lady they got asked not to come back. Now this lady, because she complained so much, they shut down the program because of her complaining. And because she was getting co-signers. See, one thing about complaining, if you don't give them no co-signer, that means if you don't give them no ear to listen to, they'll only shut up about their complaining. Because it's hard to explain to people when they're new to the program that they don't have to give nobody nothing. She sounded exactly like the other lady. When I know somebody got a house, they get $200 per person with food stamps, so they don't have to have all this food. Well, they're the main reason that Forgotten Harvest delivers so much food because of their head count. And they bring the head count up. We as a community don't bring the head count up as much as they do when they count the houses in the community. So the more people you bring up, the more you get delivered on the truck. That's true, but at the same time, it's their option to give it to the community because they got enough head count with the houses that they don't have to open up to the community and be bothered with the community. They're being generous. And that's hard to explain to a person, especially when they're new to the game. So somebody had invited them to come, and then they was complaining from the time they got hit the door. They ain't been there 5 minutes, they complained about how the food is being distributed. And try to explain to them how it goes, it was falling on deaf ears. They had made up in their mind that they were doing it the wrong way, off the rip. Don't know what's happening, but they're going to try to tell the person how the program runs. So anyway, they was 3 of them young ladies. They was like they was in their 20s. They was young. And they was at the front door. They did the normal thing at the front door. With the group thing. They did the group of senior citizens first, 60 years or older. 60 years or older. And that's your senior citizen group. And normally there's a group of them that hangs at the front door. They get in first. Then the second group of senior citizens, I'm back with the second group. Be about 3 or 4 of us left over. We supposed to follow up second. But a lot of times the young people, they get in front of us because they're anxious to get in and make sure they don't get left out. And not I let them go here because I ain't sweating. I bring a book bag to that event, so I'm not looking to get a whole lot. My main purpose going there is to see how much meat I can get. Normally you get 2 or 3 pieces of meat if it's distributed properly. You know what I'm saying? They try to do a head count, but people up front, they'll get the better choice of meat. And these are the senior citizens. That's how it's supposed to work out. But these 3 young ladies that jumped in front, they talked about that. They knew about the senior citizens going first. But they had no problem jumping in front of us the last 3. So they can get in and get theirs. And all they complained they did, at the end of the day, they left out with more than they came with. Because they came with nothing, and they left out with a couple of boxes of something. So that's the whole point at the end of the day. You come there with nothing, and you're going to leave out with a whole lot if they got a lot to distribute. And only they were loaded up with sweets this time and a lot of fruits. And they gave out 2 pieces of meat at the end. So a few of them senior citizens was coming back around for a second time around with the meat. They had that much meat they give out that time. So they're being pretty generous. And they took advantage of the situation a little bit. But, I don't complain, because if you got that much greed and being inconsiderate to the next person, then that's on you. You know what I'm saying? Your conscience got to bother you at some time or another. You know, because I got 3 pretty good choices of meat. It would have been market resale value been about over $20. I did pretty good, and that would bring up the rear. People up front, they did probably even better, but that's more power to them. Some people left out, other people, they double back around. Supposed to double back around from the rear instead of the middle of the pack. But they double back around and got a second time around. So some people left out with a full shopping cart. So it's times you're going to get a good hit on that, and there's times you're not. That's why I don't complain. When it's on, it's on. When it ain't on, it's all right. So I know that it has been on for me before, and it saves me money. And that's my main objective for going up there, is to save money from the grocery bill. And I'm not spending $20 at the grocery store for some meat and some canned goods and other byproducts. So that's where I go. That's my main purpose, other than, socializing also. But you go long enough, you be well known at the food bank. So this is November, so the turkey run was on at the Wednesday food bank. This Wednesday, they hand out turkeys, and normally they have some left over, turkey or ham. And normally I get some, but not this time. The word is out there in the neighborhood, and them turkey trotters, and them turkey finders, the people that be on the hunt for turkey, they was on it this Wednesday. They say it was lined up at the door early, waiting to get that turkey. So the word is out. And it don't take long when they put the word out. They call everybody and their mama. There's some families that have 5 people they getting turkeys in one family. That's just a need for greed right there. Unless you got a really big family, I guess you can't pass them out among your friends. But that's just a need for greed. They tried one time to stop them from doing that, but this one, they don't check whether you're from the same family or not. They just first come, first serve. When they did that, they ran out of turkey. By the time I got there, I ran late. I wasn't getting out too early. It was pretty cold that day. And I wasn't going to get out early for no turkey because I wasn't going to eat no turkey anyway. I was going to give it away. And I'll get the turkey wings and I'm cool. About 4 wings and some dressing. That's me for the holiday. Thanksgiving coming up. But these turkey lovers, or these people I call it turkey grabbers, they be hunting for them turkeys. They pride themselves on how many turkeys they can get for free and how many hams they can get for free for the holiday. But there's more power to them, It's a holiday that I recognize this, it was part of how the nation got founded, but it's a holiday I don't celebrate that much. I call it a football day holiday. I watch football on Thanksgiving. And I'm thankful every day I'm here. So, we know that the people that came up here, them pilgrims, they appreciate the native tribes helping them out survive that winter. But 2 or 3 generations later, they would be the enemies. They'd be the greatest enemies against the native tribe. So they would turn on them. So, you can't see that coming from one generation to another because it took over 100 years. That might be 4 or 5 generations later when them thugs came in and took over from the British and the French over here in Detroit on the East Coast. That was the third group that came over and took over for the native tribes. It took their right away to the land. So that's why I really don't celebrate that much. I call it a white man's holiday, a white person holiday. There were no black people involved in that decision making, that's for sure. We were still over in Africa. But anyway, that's what happened on Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, the High Drama Thursday food bank. So Friday, we got another chance to do a food bank this Friday. It's going to be interesting. Last time they had it at this housing complex, they didn't have no supervision with the police department. But this time the police department is supposed to be there. So we'll see what happens. And with this event, the last time they had them Gaylords out there, Palace of Gaylord, and the one that had the meat in it, they rummaged through it. They was not considerate of nobody but themselves. They took as much as they could before they was asked to stop. And they weren't going to stop until the pallet was empty. It was just a few in there, then that's when they stopped. So that's how ironic it is. They take it all the way down to the end, bottom of the pallet, or the Gaylord, and then they'll stop when they don't see no more meat. So that's how much greed people have. And that's the running joke with the food bank is how they bring greed out in people. But we'll see what happens this Friday, with these food banks around the holiday. So I don't know what's going to happen next week. You got a couple that I might be going to. We'll see how much greed is in there for the holiday. But anyway, that's the update with the food banks. With the bicycle lanes, we got these scooters out there. And now the scooters are in the hands of two of the automotive companies getting in the scooter business because of the popularity with the scooters. So the scooters are using the bicycle lanes. So now people see why these bicycle lanes are going to be real popular in urban areas, urban cities. So they're bringing in scooters for independent transportation, and they're bringing in self-driving vehicles. And they still have people in the self-driving vehicles, but self-driving vehicles are coming. That is a prelude to the self-driving vehicles. If you want your independent transportation, you're going to have to rent a scooter or get into electric bikes. Even GM is getting into electric bikes made from them. So it's going to be made in the USA. So I'm going to see how much the price is on that. And probably other bike companies going to follow suit. And a lot of electric bikes are going to be made in the United States. And people are going to get into doing more electric bike repairs. And more parts are going to be easy accessible in the United States versus how it is now. You have to buy them from the manufacturer in China. And they don't really want to sell the parts to you. They want to sell you the whole bike again. That's how they make money. So the easiest part to replace, the part that seems to be easiest to get burnt out is the controller. That one, you can short that out real quick, and they're not easily accessible with the higher wattage motors. They're only 350 watts, so that's a low watt motor. I like to run with a 500 watt motor. Or something better than 350. But now they got the new version of the chain bikes. It's really an old version of something new. So it was that was the first version of a motor car. If you look at the motor cars, it was a spin-off of bicycle. The bicycle came first, cars came second. Electric cars didn't win out because gasoline was cheaper than batteries, and that's why it didn't win out. But it was around at the same time they built cars, and it was inventing cars. They had the electric vehicle, as well as the gasoline vehicle. But the gasoline vehicle run out because it was cheaper at that time, with gasoline being dirt cheap. That's why they call it dirt cheap, versus the electric vehicle with the batteries. Well, it has went full cycle. So now we get into electric vehicles, 4 wheels, as well as 2 wheels. The 2-wheel electric vehicle, GM going to make is a bicycle. And I know they're going to also probably make a tricycle. And they're going to probably make scooters too, because they're probably going to go in the scooter business. So them scooters got them small wheels on it. They're the scooters that you stand up on, not sit down and ride in. So those are ones that are kind of popular with young people. But they're kind of dangerous, so we'll see how they do for the winter. Because they got some small wheels on them. Their wheels are a little bit bigger than the shopping cart wheel. So they don't have really big wheels on it. So we'll see how they work out for the winter. But they're going to be out there on the road. They're not in the neighborhoods. They started downtown, but I see them everywhere in the neighborhood now. So they made it to the neighborhood. And there's 3 companies doing it in Detroit so far. So they got some competition. So hopefully competition will lower the price. Right now the price is up a little high, but, it's something new to the game with transportation. So transportation is about to make some changes, especially with self-driving vehicles. Pretty soon grocery stores going to be a thing of the past. People won't have to go out to grocery stores because they're teaming up with Walmart, Ford is, so that they can have self-driving vehicles and deliver your groceries to your house. So the supermarkets probably be a thing of the past. You go in the grocery store, gas station be a thing of the past. So it'll be interesting for the next generation, that's for sure. As they bring in the robots. That's the next thing. Is electronics going to take over. A lot of things that people are doing, robots are going to be doing, and everything running on electric vehicles and everything run by battery. Robots will be mobile, they have to have a battery. That'll be their power source. When they're not mobile, they're stationary, they can be plugged in and run off the grid, electrical cord. But when they're mobile, they have to have a battery to be portable or mobile, to move around independent of a cord. So the batteries going to make a big difference. There'll be a lot of batteries, so hopefully the next generation will learn how to recycle them batteries instead of throwing them away. So unfortunately, I want to see all this come to pass. My generation was stuck on gasoline and generators and electric cords and stuff like that. We were stuck in the past. But you can see it's going to happen for the next generation. Because anytime the major automobile companies make a commitment to go that way, as well as their competition, it's just coming. Ain't no doubt about that. It's coming whether you like it or not. And I would have liked to have seen that in my lifetime, but I don't think I will see the end of it, but my kids will, and definitely my grandkids will. So that's what's happening. So I guess we won't be going out to the food bank. Food bank might be coming to us. That'll be kind of funny. But anyway, we'll see what happens with the rest of this month. This is the time when these turkey bandits or these turkey hoarders are out there trying to hoard as many turkeys as they can and get as many turkeys and ham as they can for the holiday. So this is the holiday season. It's the winter months, so we will see what happens. So all I got to say now is later, Gator, and we'll talk to you later.